to know what do we do? And we didn't know what, uh-oh, I've been cut off. Oh, okay. I didn't know what we were doing. We have grown and learned along the way. And so Jim was at the beach meetings, and I know him to be a man that has a lot of passion about his country. So I will let Jim Walker explain to you why he is running for state representative. Jim?
Go ahead, eat the mic. I'll try to stick to my 10 minutes. Unlike Dave, I don't like prepared speeches. I like things to come in written form, but I like to follow those things that come in written form. And the U.S. Constitution and the state constitution are the two things that I like to follow. Those of you that know me already have my RAC card, and this is what I'll be speaking from primarily. Some folks of you here tonight don't know me. My name is Jim Walker. I'm candidate for the District 78 House of Representatives. I do not have any previous public service, although I have in a paid position. I have volunteered a lot over the years, and it really wasn't going to cover everything back through high school, but I thought I just might go ahead and let you know, because this doesn't really cover some things. My resume is clear. It's right here on the top of the RAC card. It lets you know about my experience as far as my work program goes. When I was out of college in healthcare, I volunteered with a local group called the REACT team. And I don't know if REACT was big up here in the 70s and 80s, back in the CB days. It's the Radio Emergency Assisted Communications team. And I was one of their executives, where we communicated working with FEMA for radiological monitoring. We had a nuclear power plant, and we were all trained in using Geiger counters. And we were on the FEMA team for radio communications and monitoring field radiation in case of an emergency. I also worked with the St. Mary's County Sheriff's Department in drunk driver awareness and traffic control, and in community programs where we rattle doors and things like that, sort of like a little local security team, and I volunteered to do that. When I got out of college as a hospital manager, I managed at college age, 23 years old. I managed 2 different hospital food service departments, where I worked with state and local regulations and all the things that go along with that. In the nutrition department, I also, after the Clintons got in office, I moved out of healthcare because it looked like middle management and healthcare was going to be a really bad place to be, sort of like it is now. So I moved into restaurant management, and everywhere when you get to the general manager level of restaurant management, the only way to make more money and to grow your experience is to move. And that's what my wife did. My wife, Tanya, is right here, and she's also my campaign manager. And we moved and we moved and we moved, and we got upstate New York, and McDonald's was taking over the little diners. All remember the little diners from the 50s that used to be on the toll roads. And McDonald's took those over, and they built these Taj Mahals and turned them all into fast food courts. And quite frankly, I'm not a McDonald's manager. I like a little bit more control over what's going on, and the McDonald's environment wasn't for me. I managed 2 of those rest areas on the New York State Thruway, and you can imagine in the state of New York the amount of regulations we had there that we had to go along with. And in managing those 2, up until the building of the Taj Mahals that they built, I came off the toll road, and then I managed Ponderosa in Danbury, Connecticut, near where the shooting in Connecticut happened 2 years ago. And then I was promoted over as general manager in New York as a general manager of the Ponderosa there. In my experience, I found that the best way to do things, of course, is by the rules. So I went into stores, and I taught the people, and I set the parameters and the guidelines and the goals for the store. And those people that couldn't measure up, we encouraged them to seek other opportunities and put people in their place to do the right job. And that's part of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing now. And running for the House of Representatives. So I built the businesses as I went in. I took businesses that were failing or scheduled to be closed and built them up to where they were profitable. And that's what I did there. Cracker Barrel looked at my resume, and they liked what I was doing. They had a store here in Stevensville, Michigan, and only been open for a year, and they were struggling with management, and they hired me on. And I came here and I worked for the Cracker Barrel for about a year, and that's how we wound up here in Michigan. So I'm not a local guy. I'm from back east. My dad was a Southern West Virginia coal miner's son, and my mom came from Pennsylvania in the steel mill area. So I was raised a Democrat. I was raised as a Kennedy Democrat, and I understand that the whole thing comes from not what the country can do for us, but what we can do for our country. My dad was a Marine, and he brought that to me, instilled that in me, and that's another reason why I'm running for office. When I came here to Michigan as a Cracker Barrel manager, I love to hunt, I love to fish. Michigan is a beautiful place for that, and I just love this place here. We fell in love with the area, and I was only here about 13 months, and Cracker Barrel came to me and said, well, we really like what you've done here at this store, we'd like to promote you to Battle Creek. I just bought a house. And we just moved again, and the kids didn't want to move again, and I didn't want to move again. So I told my district manager, you know what, I just really can't do this. So I gave him the keys, and I came home, and after I got time to quit crying, I built, and it's true, I'll never lie to you. That's one thing you can always guarantee, you'll always know where I stand on stuff. All the employees, the hundreds of employees that I've managed over the years, when they come in for their annual evaluation, one thing they always say is, I knew that's what you were going to say. And I want all the constituents of District 78 to always know that if they want to call the office, that's fine, but you really don't need to, because you're already going to know what I'm going to vote on things, because I have principles and I'll stand by those all the time. So anyway, we came here, and I quit over on Keeler Creek. Anybody from the Stevensville area knows the Keeler Creek Nursery over Keeler Creek Road? I built those greenhouses in behind. There's great big dome greenhouses. Of course, you probably can't see them now because they're covered with weeds because the business is gone. But I drove all those posts in the ground through October, November, and December in that year that I left Cracker Barrel with a hammer. And I built those greenhouses. And I didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I couldn't figure out where my path was going because I'd done so much different stuff. And I kept watching the Herald Palladium in the paper, and there really wasn't anything except in transportation. I knew I had to take care of my family, and I knew I didn't want to move again, so I knew I could drive a truck because my dad did it. He was a Teamster Union guy, Local 639, and I said, Tanya, I think I'm going to go drive a truck. So she said, go ahead. So I did. I've been a truck driver for 18 years. I've been an exemplary company employee. I've been driver of the month. I've logged over 1.25 million miles without an accident. And, well, I got a couple of tickets along the way, but I got out of them. Yeah, you know, officers make mistakes, and we shook hands and agree to disagree. So anyway, yeah, I've been a pretty good truck driver. I haven't run over top of anybody, although I'd like to a couple of times. And so I became president, or became a member of the Berrien County Sportsman's Club because I like to hunt, and I like to fish, and I like to shoot. And being a member there, the membership knew what kind of person I am, so I ran for office there. So I guess I really do have a public service office, but it's non-paid. The Berrien County Sportsman's Club was almost bankrupt. They had no accounting procedure, and they had no money. And I was president, and I had 6 of my 9 board members, and I had 92 members. And now the club has over almost 500 family memberships. It's strong, it has money, it has an accounting system, it has a P&L system, and I set that up. I really did. I had a really hard time tooting my horn, but being here in front of the people of the county, this is the time to do it. And I had a district manager one time when I worked for Morrison's Custom Management, Doug Santoro, and Doug said, you have to toot your horn sometimes, Jim. So that's what I'm doing. So I got the club back together. I got a board, and I got the memberships on board, and it was in such dire straits I couldn't get Lakeland to print our newsletter. I had to take them a check, a personal check, and get them to print our newsletter so I could issue it out. That's what kind of shape the club was in. But like I say, it's strong now. President of the Sportsman's Club, 2 terms. Board of Directors, 2 terms, and Chairman of the Board for 1 term. I started the Defensive Pistol Association shoots at the Berrien County Sportsman's Club, organized that. It's still going strong. I started a concealed weapons class through the NRA at the Berrien County Sportsman's Club, where I've been an instructor for 13 years through the NRA and at the Berrien County Sportsman's Club. And we teach students from Berrien County, from Allegheny County, from Cass County, all around the region. We work with the Boy Scouts there in firearm safety and shooting. We introduce them to the shooting sports and shotgun and rifle. The kids can't do pistols, but Mr. Pagel did support legislation just recently for children to learn to shoot firearms with written permission from their parents. And I'd like to thank Mr. Pagel for following that up. That was good. I also worked with the U.S. Navy Sea Cadets in firearm safety and marksmanship, teaching rifle safety and rifle shooting with the Sea Cadets. I'm an endowment member of the NRA, and I've been a member of the NRA since I got out of college, I think, or maybe even before. Taj and I have been married 22 years, and we have 2 kids and 2 grandkids, and I got 1 minute to cover the reasons why I can't support Medicaid expansion and healthcare changes, Common Core, according to capital, centralized government, increasing taxes. Okay. You guys just don't know where I've been, and I gotta get you to understand that I have such a diverse background, and I'm not myopic on seeing what's going on, because I'm from the East Coast, and I watch how they do it wrong, and I watch exactly what's going on in Lansing, and that's what's happening in Lansing. They're bringing that stuff here, and I love Michigan, and I don't want that to happen. Medicaid expansion, what that does is, and through Obamacare, it forced everybody to get insurance. So we got all these people coming into the Medicaid rolls, and doctors don't like to take Medicaid because the government doesn't pay them back. So you got all these people in Medicaid rolls and they can't get an appointment. Insurance, and I can lump all this together, insurance doesn't give you health care. Insurance doesn't give you better health care. What gives you better health care is being able to have one-on-one with your doctor and not having the government in the middle of it. And I'm done.